Thank you, Bruce. Hare Krishna. We'll start by chanting the Radha Madhav prayers and then we'll recite a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam today. I'm going to recite Canto 7, Chapter 9, Text 11, 7, 9, 11. जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीर वनचारी यमुना तीर वनचारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा काला चंजी राधा काला चंजी राधे जय राधा काला चंजी राधा काला चंजी राधे जय राधा गोविंद राधा गोविंद राधे जय जय जगन्नाथ जगन्नाथ बलदेव जय जय सुभद्रा निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय श्री राधा कालाचंद जी भगवान की जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय Hare Krishna. So we will recite words from the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's Canto 7, Chapter 9, verse 11. This chapter is entitled Prahlad pacifies the Lord with his prayers. So this is a section of the Bhagavatam where most of us know the wonderful pastime of Lord Narasimhadev appearing to protect his devotee Prahlad. And after killing Narasimha, after Lord Narasimha killed Hiranyakashipu, he was so angry that nobody was able to go in front of him. So all the demigods eventually requested Prahlad to go and speak to the Lord to pacify him. So this verse comes as part of that section where Prahlad Maharaj is praying to Lord Narasimhadev to pacify him. So that is the prayer. We'll recite this and then I'll try to share some thoughts based on how the Lord reciprocates and what the Lord really wants from his devotees. So I will recite this. If you can repeat after me. Naivatmana prabhurayam nijalabha purno manam janada vidusha karuno vrinite yad yajjano bhagavate vidadita manam तच्चट मणे प्रतिमुखस्य यथा मुखश्री नैवात्मना प्रभुरयं निजलाभपूर्णो मानं जनाद विदुष करुणो वृणीते यद यज्जनो भगवते विदधीतमानं तच्चात्मने प्रतिमुखस्य यथा मुखश्रीः. Translation. The Supreme Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is always fully satisfied in himself. Therefore, when something is offered to him, the offering by the Lord's mercy is for the benefit of the devotee. For the Lord does not need service from anyone. To give an example, if one's face is decorated, the reflection of one's face in a mirror is also seen to be decorated. Anybody wants to recite? Sorry, I forgot. If you want to recite, you can recite. Naivatmanam prabhurayam nijalabhapurno manam janad vidushakarno vrinite. Tachatmane pratimukasya tamukashri. Naivatmayam prabhurasyam nijalabhapurno manam janana vidushakarno vrinite. Yadi ajjano na viditam vidaditamanam tachatmane pratimukasya yathasmukhashri. Yadi ajjano bhagavate vidaditamanam tachatmane pratimukasya yathamukhashri. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In Bhakti Yoga, it is recommended that a devotee follow 9 principles: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. This service of glorifying the Lord by hearing, chanting, and so on is not, of course, meant for the benefit of the Lord. This devotional service is recommended for the benefit of the devotee. The Lord is always glorious, whether a devotee glorifies Him or not. But if the devotee engages in glorifying the Lord, the devotee himself automatically becomes glorious. Cheto darpana marjanam bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam. By glorifying the Lord constantly, the living entity becomes purified in the core of his heart, and thus he can understand it does not belong to the material world, but is a spirit soul whose actual activity is to advance in Krishna consciousness so that he may become free from material clutches. I'm going to stop here with the purport. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Shri Padantikam हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकांत राधाकांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. So just wanted to share a few thoughts based on whatever I've heard from our senior acharyas, from my guru and from Srila Prabhupada's purports for my own purification. So as we see in this verse, that Prahlad Maharaj is stating that whatever service we do is actually meant for our purification. In one sense, the Lord does not need, in that sense, He is Atmaram. We all have heard in the Brahma Samhita also, Chinta Mani Prakara Sadma Sukalpa Vriksho Lakshavriteshu Surabhi Abhipalayantam Lakshmi Sahastra Sata Sambrama Sevyamano Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. So Lord Brahma also says that, he explains that in the spiritual world, the Lord is complete. The spiritual world is full of wish-fulfilling gems, Chintamani. It is full of kalpavrikshas. There are hundreds and thousands of Lakshmis who are actually serving the Lord. So the Lord in that sense is Atmaram. He is completely full with whatever He needs. But the reason, then the question may be that why do we do all these things, or why are we asked to do all these things? And of course, Prabhupada also mentions in the purport that 9 processes of devotional service are recommended. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Vandanam, Padasevanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. So, the thing to understand for devotees is that what the Lord actually wants and what is it that we can actually give to the Lord is not the ingredients. Like as they say, the Lord is Bhavagrahi Janardhan. There is a word, Bhavagrahi Janardhan. He's looking for those emotions. He's looking for our heart, for our devotion. Practically, there is nothing that we can actually offer to the Lord. If we analyze also, everything we use in the service of the Lord comes from the energies of the Lord, right? Whatever we cook, all the ingredients through the various energies of the Lord, the earth produces so many ingredients that can be then cooked and offered to the Lord. So almost everything that we can analyze actually comes from the Lord. And the example that is given is like some of us who have been to like the river Ganga. The practice is to take some water from the river and then offer it back. So what are we actually offering? It's actually taking water from the river Ganga and then we are offering it back to river Ganga. But in that we get purified. We get the benefit. So something like that is the situation of living entities on this who have come here. So the thing to understand is it is only the mercy of the Lord that first of all we get this opportunity to try to be different from our eternal service. Like as we know, all of us have an eternal form and an eternal service to the Lord in the spiritual world. It's called Swarupa Siddhi. But it's the Lord's causeless mercy on us that He allows us to go away from Him and do what we like to do. So He's given us this free will. And that's mainly because we are part and parcel of the Lord. Krishna says that, right? Mame vamsha jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana manashastrani indriyani prakritistani karshati. We all are his parts and parcels. We are his expansions and qualitatively the same. But we are, and because we are qualitatively the same, there is one quality of the Lord which we inherit, which is called Swarat, which is independence. Just as the Lord is independent, we also have been given independence. And that is called as free will. But of course, with that independence comes, when you pick up one end of the stick, the other end of the stick also comes along. So along with that comes our responsibility towards our own actions. That is called as the law of karma. So anything we do, we get a reaction to it, whether good or bad. So the free will is available to us. So that is the only one thing that is very unique or very much our own. Everything else belongs to the Lord. So only when we give our free will to the Lord, that is where we start actually pleasing the Lord. So that is why this concept of, or these, the 9 processes of bhakti, and then there are 9 stages of bhakti also, as we know. There is Adav, Shraddha. From Shraddha, then you extend to like Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya. Then you have Anartha Nivritti. Then you have Nishtha. Then you have Ruchi, Asakti, Bhav and Prem. So these are the stages of sadhana bhakti. And till we reach the stage of Bhav and Prem, everything we do is actually meant only for our purification. Only when we reach the stage of Bhava and Prem, that's when the Lord actually starts to enjoy our bhakti or devotional service. And that is the understanding of this verse, that we have to do it, but that is mainly for our purification. It's not that the Lord wants it. He enjoys, He is pleased when we follow the instructions of our Guru and Srila Prabhupada to chant, even though impurely, even though with all the inadequacies, whatever services we do, the Lord still accepts. But the real pleasure of the Lord to give to the Lord starts when we reach this stage of Bhava and Prema. And I thought, for my own purification and for the pleasure of devotees, I'll share a few pastimes of the reciprocation between the Lord and His devotees, which actually demonstrate this principle that the Lord does not need anything from us other than our heart or our simplicity or our free will. And there are many, many wonderful pastimes spread across the scriptures. I'll probably speak a few from the pastimes of Lord Jagannath, because recently we had such a beautiful, even in Dallas we have a wonderful Rath Yatra, but the actual Rath Yatra also happened in Puri, I think on 9th or 11th, I don't remember, of July, just this month. And the Lord is so merciful in that form. So I just thought I'll share a few pastimes which depict this understanding that the Lord doesn't really need anything other than the simplicity of our heart. That is what actually pleases Him, and we can enjoy, or He can enjoy our reciprocation or our heart. So most of us know in this worship of the Lord in a special form as Lord Jagannath has been followed for actually almost the start of our Brahma. There is a story of how the Lord actually first was present as Neela Madhav, and then in the second half of Lord Brahma's, our current Brahma's life, He manifests as Lord Jagannath. So it's actually going on since centuries and decades and eternity, honestly. And there are many, many stories of the Lord's reciprocation in His form as Lord Jagannath, that eventually many practices started to get attached to the worship of Lord Jagannath in Sri Puri Dham, which very beautifully depict how the Lord actually, all He requires, He does not need other services, but He requires our emotions, our heart. So one such story, I'll share probably 3 or 4. The first story I would like to share is that of a devotee. His name was Raghu. He was, so at that time, as we all know, Lord Jagannath accepts so many different forms of prasadam. There's 56 bhoga as we call it. 56 items are offered to the Lord daily. And it is said that the Lord, it's especially in the holy dham of holy land of India, it is said the folklore is that the Lord, he sleeps in Rameshwaram, it is in the south of India, wakes up in the north in Badrikashram, gets ready to administer the universe in Dwarka, and goes to eat in Puri Dham, in the east. So the purpose of Puri Dham is to feed the Lord. So he accepts 56 different bhogas on a daily basis. So there was one devotee who was living in Jagannath Puri Dham. He was a seller of betel leaf. In India they have this pan. They call it pan. You have betel leaf. They put some stuff and then they will mix it with some rose petal, concentrate, and then they will offer to people. So this was not an offering to Lord Jagannath, but he would in his mind every day offer it because he was a seller of this pan or this betel. So betel leaf, sorry. So he would offer it, and he would do it with so much love for Lord Jagannath that Lord Jagannath said, I am going to go and have it every day. So one time there is another devotee of Lord Jagannath. His name was Balaram Das. He was part of the worshippers inside the temple. And he saw that two young boys, he started noticing a pattern where two young boys would every night step out of the temple and go somewhere. So this devotee Balaram Das thought, I need to figure out what's happening. So he started following these two boys, and he found out that these two boys go to this devotee's house. His name was Raghu, and they would actually eat that pan that he would offer to them. And he was like shocked. So after these two boys left, this Balaram Das went and asked this devotee Raghu that, who are these boys? Why are you offering? He said, I don't know. Whenever I see them, I feel so blissful. I'm very happy to see them. He said, did you take any money from them? He said, no, I don't. And I'm so enamored by their beauty that I don't even feel like asking any money. He said, no, tomorrow you should ask for money from them. So Raghu said, okay, tomorrow I'll ask for money. So next day when the two boys came, obviously they are Krishna and Balaram. When the two boys came, Raghu asked, I need some money. I will not give you my pan unless you give me some money. So they said, we don't have any money. Where can we give you money from? No, you have to give money, otherwise I'll not give you pan. I said, okay, then I'll give you my, whatever I'm wearing, I'll just give you. So they were wearing a chadar. So both of them gave a chadar, and then he gave the pan. And then he went away. And then Balaram Das came and asked, what happened? He said, this time I got this. And he was like shocked. So next day when they opened the altar, they saw that the Lord Jagannath has a special chadar around him. They were missing from the altar. So the king came to know about this. There's a king who is considered as the Pradhan Sevak, the main servant of Lord Jagannath. It's Gajapati, called Gajapati. The current king's name is, I think, Dubya Singh Deb or something like that. It comes in the dynasty. So the king said, this is amazing. So from that day onwards, per the king's instructions, they started offering betel leaf as an additional offering to Lord Jagannath in memory of Raghu's devotion. So that is one example. Another example is that of a devotee. His name was Bandhu Mohanty. Mohanty was a very poor person living in Jagannath Puri Dham. Bandhu means like a friend. He was like a friend to everybody, but he was very poor. He had very poor means. So his wife would always say that we need to do something. I mean, if we have to run the family, we cannot just live like this. We have to do something. So Mohanty said that I have a friend in Puri. Let's go and ask him. Lord Jagannath is my friend. That's why he was called as Bandhu Mohanty. He had that bhava that Lord Jagannath is my friend. He said, Jagannath will help us. So Bandhu Mohanty, along with his family, they traveled, they walked. At that time there were no such uh, ways and means to reach Jagannath Puri as we can do today, comfortably. So he, with his family, eventually reached Sri Puri Dham, Sri Kshetra Puri Dham, and they were very poor, so they didn't have enough money to buy food or go in and have prasadam. So in Puri Dham there are four gates. There is the east gate, which is called as Simhadwar. The west is called as the tiger, the Vyagradwar. The north is Ashwa, and south is Simhad, Hasti, the elephant Dwar. So on the south side, I don't remember whether it's south or east, south or west, but on one side of the gate, after they wash and clean the pots, they will flow the water out from a particular place. It's called as a nala, some kind of nala it's called. So from that place, the water that has washed the prasadam is flown. So Mohanty said, let me drink that water, and that will feed me and my family. It was that poor. So he said, I will just go and drink water from that nala, or that place where it's like a drainage pipe literally, from where the water that has washed the pots after the cooking, that is thrown out. So he drinks that and he goes to sleep. And that night, Lord Jagannath, he becomes very moved by the simplicity and devotion of Bandhu Mohanty. And he takes the form of an old Brahmin. And in his own plate, which is a golden plate, the Lord is offered bhoga in a golden plate in Jagannath Puri Dham. So in his own plate, he arranges all the prasadam and takes it to Bandhu Mohanty. And he gives it to him. And Bandhu Mohanty is very happy, and he feeds his whole family with it. And then he goes to sleep. And next day morning in the temple, the pujaris, they come to see that the golden plate is missing. So they start searching. This is like a big offense, the paraphernalia of the Lord is being stolen. So they start to search, and eventually the king's servants, they find out that this plate is with this person called Bandhu Mohanty, and they immediately arrest him. And they bring him to the king and say that he is the person who actually stole the plate of Lord Jagannath. So then Bandhu Mohanty prayed in his heart to Lord Jagannath, saying that, I think you were the one who arranged, then why am I going through all this? So then Lord Jagannath actually that night came into the dream of the king and said that, please don't do this. I was the one who actually stole the plate for the sake of my devotee. And hence he, please release him and give this back to him. So eventually that is what happened. And that also became a part of Lord's service, that, part of the bhoga is always offered to Bandhu Mohanty. So that also depicts how the Lord actually is pleased with simplicity in the heart. There is nothing else that beats this simplicity of the heart, that attracts his attention to us. So another story that comes to as part of Lord Jagannath's pastimes is that of his name was, there are two that come to my mind. I'll go with Dasya Bauri first. He was also a very simple weaver. A Bauri means a person who weaves clothes. He would weave the cloth, and that was his way or means of livelihood. So he was a very, very great devotee of Lord Jagannath. But at that time, unfortunately, they would not allow people who are of lower caste in Puri Dham, in the temple. Now it has changed, at least it's not by caste. Unfortunately, it's still there by that only Hindus can go. But of course, the Lord is so merciful that he himself comes out to give his darshan and blessings. And by Prabhupada's mercy, he's there everywhere. We don't have to visit Puri. He's now in every temple of ISKCON. So this person, he never got a chance to see Lord Jagannath. So he was very, in his heart, had that intense longing to see Lord Jagannath. So then one day he saw the Lord, as we all know, just 15 days before the Puri Yatra, the Lord is brought outside for a particular special ablutions, the bathing of Lord Jagannath. The water from special, all the holy places is, holy rivers is brought together, and Lord Jagannath is offered the Snana Yatra, as we call it. And then he falls sick, of course. It's a part of the whole pastime. But the first time this Dasya Bauri, he saw Lord Jagannath on this platform. It's called, this is called as a Snana Beach. There is a place, separate place outside the temple where the Lord is brought, where the lordships are brought out. And he saw them for the first time. And he became so enamored by their form that it could not come out of his conscience. He was always thinking of Lord Jagannath's beautiful face. So one time, his wife, she offered him food in his own house. So, in those times, the plates would be made of mud, right? It were not like what we eat in right nowadays. We eat plastic plates, melamine plates and all. It was not, it was very natural, the red clay mud plate. So it was red in color. And she put rice, which is white in color. And then she put some dal, which was like maybe saag dal or something, which was black in color. So the moment he saw this combination of red, white and black, he started thinking of Lord Jagannath's face and eyes. Because, Lord Jagannath's face and eyes have that color, right? Red, black and white. So the moment he saw that in the plate, he started thinking about the Lord, and he started thinking, how can I eat this? I cannot eat it. This is Lord Jagannath. So his wife she was confused that now if he has so much bhav, then how can I even feed him? So then she started giving him separately, not in the same plate. The rice would be in another plate, the saag will be in another plate, like that. So that was his absorption. And because he didn't have any entry into the temple of Lord Jagannath, he would always long to do service. And of course, we all know that the service of Lord Jagannath follows certain rituals. Though they are rituals in their own sweetness, they are not per the standards of what you would usually see. If you go to the southern part of India, the ritualistic standards are much higher as compared to that in Puri. But that's how it is. That's how the Lord likes the simplicity of his servants. And these are all servants who were blessed in the pastime of Lord Jagannath. When the Lord appeared, the descendants of Vidya Vachaspati, the descendants of what was the other person, Vishwavasu and all that. So all these servants, there are more than like 2,500 servants who serve the Lord daily in Puri Dham. So they are all coming in certain, families and descendancies, and through all these pastimes, different services get attached to Lord Jagannath. So this Dasya Bauri, he thought that I will one time offer a very simple offering. What can I do? So he went to look for the best coconuts he could find in Puri. Puri is a coastal area, so you will see a lot of green coconuts available. So he started looking, and he, in his own bhav, in his own feeling of devotion, he wanted to offer the best coconut to Lord Jagannath. So he went and found some, and then he told the seller that, please give me these coconuts. I want to offer to Lord Jagannath. So this seller said, but these are the best coconuts. You'll have to pay a big price for it. So this weaver, he gave everything he had from his savings, and he bought those coconuts and gave it to. And since he could not go inside the temple, he told the pandas, the pujaris, that can you please make this offering on my behalf? Just tell the Lord that it is from your devotee, Dasya Bauri. So he actually gave it to the pujari, and he told the pujari that please tell me if the Lord actually accepts it. So the pujari offered the coconut to Lord Jagannath, and lo and behold, from Lord Jagannath's vigraha, they could see the hands coming out to actually receive that coconut. And when the pujaris, when they saw it, they were stunned to see that, the Lord actually is manifesting a hand to pick up and honor the offering of Dasya Bauri. So then this word spread that Dasya Bauri is such a great devotee that Lord actually manifested his hands to, come and offer this, take this offering. So next time onwards, they started saying, "Can we offer on your behalf? Can we?" The next time he got mangoes, and they said, "Can we offer again?" He said, "No, this time I'll offer it myself. I'll see how much the Lord actually. If you say that he actually raised in his hands, let me see if I can offer it myself." So this time he didn't, because he didn't have access inside the Puri Dham temple. Most of us who have at least seen the temple will know that on top of the temple there is this chakra which was installed by Lord Brahma himself. It's called as a Neela chakra. It's like almost like 12 feet, twice the height of a tall person. That is how big that. And it is said that anybody who actually, it became prominent after this pastime, where anybody who sees the chakra gets the benefit of seeing the Lord himself, even though he's not going inside the temple. So it so happened that he brought these mangoes, Dasya Bauri brought these mangoes, and standing in front of the chakra on the Simhadwar in the east side, he said, "Let me see if you can take the offering from here." And again, by the Lord's mercy, right from the chakra, he manifested his Chaturbhuj form, and he extended his hands and took the mangoes and offered it and accepted it. And it is said that from that point on, whenever Dasya Bauri would want the darshan of the Lord, he would come and just stand at a particular point and look at the chakra, and he would get the darshan. And not just darshan of Lord Jagannath, whichever form of the Lord he wanted darshan, Lord would give him darshan. If he wanted to see him as Ram or whichever avatar, So that was the mercy. That is actually the mercy of Lord Jagannath. And, in general, the Lord, all he wants, as I was mentioning through these pastimes, is that he looks for simplicity of the heart. All these, the principles of sadhana bhakti are meant to regulate us. It is not meant to give him pleasure. That's why in this purport, actually not in this purport, 2 shlokas before, Prahlad Maharaj also mentions this, I'll just read this translation and then we can stop. Prahlad Maharaj, in his prayers, he says that one may possess wealth, an aristocratic family, beauty, austerity, education, sensory expertise, luster, influence, physical strength, diligence, intelligence, and mystic yogic power. But I think even that by all these qualifications, one cannot satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. However, one can satisfy the Lord simply by devotional service. Gajendra did this, and thus the Lord was satisfied with him. So this is in essence what Prahlad Maharaj is praying to the Lord. That he is praising him that you really don't look at the content, you look at the intent, right? The externals don't matter to the Lord. We may do the best of worship in the best possible practices, but if that emotion, that free will, as we say, giving up our free will for the pleasure of the Lord, till that is reached, it is not really a place where the Lord starts relishing or enjoying our service. So we should, as devotees on the path of sadhana bhakti, under the instructions of His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada and all his followers, we are all making our little feeble attempt, and we fumble also, to practice sadhana bhakti. We should, as they say, we should always remember the end. Whatever we are doing, sadhana bhakti is a means to the end. So we should begin with the end in mind. We should never forget this as the goal of life, that when will, through this sadhana bhakti, through the association of devotees, when will the time come where my heart will become so purified that it will go back to its original state of simplicity and innocence. And that is when, on that platform, I can actually enjoy that exchange of love, with simplicity, with the Lord. And that is essentially the essence of bhakti, is it not? The essence of bhakti is the Lord wants to glorify his devotees, and the devotees wants to glorify the Lord. So it's an eternal spiritual competition. Who wins? Whether the devotee wins by glorifying the Lord, or the Lord wins by glorifying his devotees. That is the platform, what Srimad Bhagavatam and the prayers of such great personalities teaches us. And if we can keep that in the back of our mind as we do our sadhana bhakti, hopefully, based on the sincerity of our heart and our prayers, the Lord will reciprocate and actually give us that same nectar of the reciprocation that he gives to his sincere devotees. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Almost time. Anybody has any thoughts or anything to add or any questions? If not, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Radha Kalachandji Bhagwan ki